Hello, I am Rachel Emmelhock. Today is November 26, 2007. I am a history major at Salem State College, and this is the Salem Student Soldier Salem State College Oral History Project. Joining me today is Specialist William Cicci. Bill here is a 10-year veteran with the United States Army. He has served at Fort Knox, Fort Hood, Kuwait, and Korea. Presently, he is in the Massachusetts National Guard. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm good, you?
Good. So let's get this started.
Yeah.
So why did you originally join the military?
It was a decision I made at 8 years old, to be honest with you. I originally wanted to be a chaplain in the Army, but that changed throughout the course of my life. I don't know what it was that made me decide to do that, but at 8 years old, I was playing out in my front yard, just decided I want to be a soldier.
Cool.
And that's what I did at 18 years old. Went down to MEPS in Boston and signed up.
Sweet, sweet. And so I noticed on your bio sheet that your brother was also in the military. Is there?
Yeah, he's still in it.
Really?
Yes.
Is there like a military tradition in the family,
No,
or is it?
I was the first.
Oh, so he was following in his...
He followed me, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. So like,
Yeah.
have you guys ever worked together? Or...
Yeah, we were stationed at Fort Hood together
Oh.
for a couple of years.
Was that interesting, or was it kind of?
No, it was actually pretty cool because I hadn't seen him in about 4 years. So then he ended up there with me, and we were able to hang out all the time and do whatever. So
That's spiffy. So I take it you've traveled a lot.
I've been to about 26 states, 4 or 5 different countries.
Cool. So what was your favorite?
The favorite state or favorite country?
Just favorite where you were stationed.
I liked Korea. Yeah, I was married at the time, and I had to leave my wife and kids behind. But it's a fun country. I mean, the people there were great. Met a lot of interesting Korean soldiers. So the countryside's beautiful in the springtime and in the summer.
Have you gotten to go back since, or is it
No.
just kind of? Would
No.
you ever want to go back?
Oh, I would love to go back to Korea.
Like just like on vacation?
On
or
vacation. Go down to Seoul and actually see the sights outside of...
Oh, so you didn't get to go like...
I went to Seoul once, but I wanted to go down. I wanted to go further south, to South Korea,
Oh,
and visit the beaches down there and everything else.
it's pretty nice. I've seen pictures.
Oh, so have I. That's why I wanted to go down there.
So like when you were in Kuwait, like was it really different from Korea? Like was it just working
Oh,
with
yeah.
the troops and stuff, or?
Well, Korea is more of a duty station. Kuwait was a tour.
Okay.
Kuwait, I went over there kind of with a bad attitude because my wife was pregnant and my son was born while I was there. So I missed my firstborn's birth, so I went over there with a bad attitude, thinking that I was going to hate it, this, that, and the other thing, but it actually turned out to be pretty fun while I was there.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun,
Care to elaborate?
Well, it was way laid back.
Ah.
I mean, I thought it was going to be all intense, We slept in tents, but we also had air-conditioned tents, so it was good. Yeah. Generators would constantly break, but that was okay. We had a big tent set up with about 6 TVs, computers.
Cool.
Middle of the desert, nobody around us.
Oh, that sounds kind of like a big slumber party.
Basically, yeah, it was like a big camp.
So like your interactions with the locals wasn't like horrible or anything like that? Or?
No, I went into Kuwaiti City once for a visit, and the locals that we did interact with were pretty cool, because they love American soldiers.
I wonder why.
I know. But yeah, I saw some pretty, over there we talked with a guy who had a bunch of wives, a bunch of kids. It's pretty interesting. We got to see all the sights from when the Iraqis came over, invaded Kuwait. We got to see all those sights. We got to see the Kuwaiti Alamo, which like seven I think it was, people hid out inside there, to escape the Iraqi soldiers.
Cool.
And then they told us all sorts of stories and everything else over there.
That must have been very...
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. So like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
going
cool.
over.
After my son was born, I got over, I was like, yeah, my son's born, now I can concentrate on this. And then I started having fun.
Oh, okay. So when you came back from, being, not home for however many years, was it really difficult to go back to being a civilian for a while?
Yeah, I never adjusted to being a civilian. After I got out of the active Army, I just kept the military mentality. I still said sir and ma'am to everybody. I don't think it ever leaves you. And that's one of the reasons why I rejoined.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Do you consider yourself more civilian or more soldier?
More soldier.
More soldier. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely more soldier.
So like, how does that affect your family life? Like, is it more difficult, or is it kind of just like?
When I was active, it was difficult because I made the mistake of putting the Army before my family many, many times. And you really shouldn't do that. But I just wasn't thinking, and the Army was my life, and that's what I always wanted to do, and I was doing it, and I loved it. And so I just constantly did that. And then, now, I'm just in the National Guard, so it's the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year deal. And my kids think it's awesome, so.
So the outlook on it is a little different.
Yeah, because, I'm only part-time now. I eventually want to go back full-time, but when my kids are a little older,
Yeah,
they'll
they're
understand.
really little now.
8 and 6.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a fun age.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So how do you actually juggle the whole military and family and schoolwork all together? And you said you worked, so
Yeah.
That's got to be tough.
Well, my work is really laid back. I work for my father, so it ain't that hard. It's difficult, but you learn how to plan your time. So, like I said, the National Guard's only 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. So I get, I only have to worry about that once a month. So then I go to do that, and then that's over with. But as far as school, family, and my other job, I do it just like everybody else does. So
Fun.
yeah, it's great. You have your moments where you're overwhelmed and everything else, and you can't wait for the semester to be over, like now. But
It's not that bad. It's
no,
like
it's
3
really
weeks.
not. Yeah.
So like, have you ever like taken something like a situation that you had like when you were in Army and applied it to like something you've done in class or schoolwork or something like that?
I've used the Army for a lot of stuff in classwork and everything else. When I was taking my comp classes, the teacher was making us do everything about, college experiences, this, that, and the other thing. And this was my first semester in college, and I told her, can't do college experiences. I haven't had any, so I just used my military experiences to do all of my papers. A lot of papers that I've done have been with a military basis to it, so.
So like, are you going to use that like, you're a history major?
I'm a geography major.
You're a mock. Okay, that's
Ex-history major.
ex-history major. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. So do you use like, you have to know where you are when you're in the military. So do you
I was a
use
scout,
that?
yes.
Yeah. So it's.
I did reconnaissance, so maps, GIS. That was everything that I did in the Army. So now that's one of the reasons why I switched to geography, was because it was something that I knew, something that I loved.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I still do like history, but
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's a fun topic, So where do you see it going besides, going back in active once your children are grown up?
I want to go back active. After that, I just want to stay in, retire, hopefully, get higher up in rank. After that, then I'll go out to this. I want to eventually teach at West Point. So I figure, if I do my 20 years in the Army, then I have my degree, that whole time working towards my degree, I can get there.
Sounds pretty spiffy.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you said part of the reason you rejoined was because you don't have the civilian mentality. Were there any other reasons when you decided to?
It's what I love to do. The Army is what I loved. I love to go out to the field. I love to go out training. I don't know. I mean, that's the reason why I rejoined, was because of that. I never wanted to get out, but I was forced to get out.
Oh.
So, getting out was just like, it destroyed everything that I had built up for.
Do you want to go into why you were kicked out, or is that?
I became a single parent.
Oh.
So I gained custody of my children, and so I had to basically have a 9-to-5 job. And
right.
the Army really doesn't deal with 9 to 5.
No, not really.
So sometimes you got to be there at 2:00 in the morning, and no exceptions.
Right.
And I didn't have anybody at the time to care for my kids, so
That's
I had to get out.
that's a good excuse.
Yeah, thank you.
So you said you've been on TV and did newspapers and stuff. So how do you feel about the media's coverage of the war right now?
I think, how do I put this? I think they discuss it way too much.
Okay.
I feel that the media hypes all of the bad things that are going on and not enough of the good. That way people don't see everything that's going on. They just, all they're seeing in the news is there's another bomb, there's another death, there's another injury, and, that's all good, but I also would like to see some more of the, well, this is what's good's going on over there, because it's not all bombs, injuries, deaths,
Right.
and everything else. So that's my problem with the media is, I think they just hype on the bad. This is just broad in general. It's all about what's bad, what's evil going on, never about what's good, what's happening,
Okay. I agree. But so if you were in control of the media, you would not concentrate so much on the negative aspects, but more, other stuff that was positive that was happening? Or just kind of...
Yes. I'd do a lot more censoring too. I'm sorry, but...
Of what?
Well, I'll take for instance when 9/11 happened. I got all my information from the media because I knew what was going on with the military before it would come down the channels because of leaks into the media and everything else. So I mean, if anybody needs to know what the military is doing, just watch CNN. And so I think that is totally wrong. I think that we should get our information first, and then the media goes out and does their thing.
So do you think that the fact that the media was so involved with the beginning and right now and stuff that it's kind of hindered what's going on, hindered progress over there, or is it just kind of...
I think it's given people the wrong idea of what's going on over there. Because other people that I've talked to that have been there, yes, there's been injuries, yes, there's been bombs. I lost a very good friend of mine over there, like 6 days after my birthday 2 years ago. But it's all hyped up on that, and it's not all of that. So.
Okay. So you're for censorship.
I'm for censorship, yes.
Okay. So because you're for censorship, I have to mention this. What do you feel about soldiers posting on their Facebooks or their YouTube, like the videos of what's going on? Like, how do you feel about that?
I personally think that's wrong. I mean, I understand that it's the freedom of speech and everybody can say what they want to say and videotape what they want to videotape and put out what they want to put out. But to me, I think it's wrong. I mean, I haven't seen any of these videos. I mean, I've seen a couple of pictures and stuff from other people of things that have gone gone on over there, but I've seen both sides of it. You know, I've
Yeah.
seen, you know, cars exploded, and then I've seen people helping out children and everything
Right,
else. So
right, yeah.
I don't know.
So just like, I mean, you're saying that, you know, you don't like how the media is portraying, you know, all the bad stuff all the time. But
Right.
most of the videos on YouTube aren't of combat. They're of pretty much the soldiers helping out with building
See,
schools.
because like I
and
said,
stuff like that.
I haven't seen the
Oh,
videos,
okay.
so I don't know. But if that's what they're showing, then, you know, if they're showing the good side and the bad side, I'm okay with that. Just
But
as long as, you know, it's like an even basis, you
Right.
know, or it's showing more good than bad.
Okay.
Because, you know, if you show more good, then it portrays more good.
Right.
You know, people have a better feeling. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't want people to think that everything's hunky-dory. I mean, it is a serious situation. So don't try to get me wrong on that
Right.
one.
Right. No. Yeah.
So, you know, people need to know what's going on, but they need to know both aspects. So,
Okay. That's a very good historical perspective of it.
history's written by the winners.
Yeah. So, what are the biggest pros and the biggest cons of the military in general? Not just your experience, but just you know,
Let's see here.
as to someone who was thinking about joining and wasn't really sure.
Okay. It depends on, to join the military, I mean, people join for various reasons. Some join to serve their country. Some join just to get the college benefits they do their 2 years and they get out. I mean, I joined because I wanted to serve the country. Honestly, I wanted to go into combat. I wanted to fight for the country, you know, and if I died for the country, that's fine, you know. I was all willing to do that. The college benefits are good. I mean, they do give you $50,000 for college, I think it is nowadays. So, I mean, or if you already have your degree, they give you up to $65,000 to repay your student loans.
Sweet.
So, I mean, there's benefits, but the cons are you're away from your family. I mean, I was raised up here, and my first duty station was in Texas. So, I mean, communication is, you know, it's just a phone call. I can't just drive over to see my father, see my mother, whatever else. That's probably the biggest con, is just the distance of family. Other than that, you know, you go out camping for free. You get paid to go camping. You get to use all sorts of high-tech equipment, you know. I liked firing the weapons and stuff. I fired, I don't know how many different types of weapon systems. I mean, it's just awesome.
So, are you a more pro or a more con?
Oh, I'm more pro.
Okay.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay.
That's the
Alright.
reason I rejoined and want to go back active.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
You know, just putting it out there.
Pro Army.
So, when you were first joining up, what were your biggest fears, when you were going into it?
I had none.
You had none.
None. No
None
fears
whatsoever?
whatsoever. No.
Has that changed at all?
Nope. No fears. I am, like I said, I wanted to go to combat. I volunteered twice. Both times I was denied. You know, I have no fears about the military whatsoever. About going to combat, going overseas, doing anything.
So you totally, understand those guys who are stuck in Okinawa and really want to go to Iraq but can't.
Yeah, I completely understand them.
Yeah. I have friends that are over there. And
Oh,
they're-
really?
Yeah. Every few weeks they won't let me go. I'm so upset.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've put in paperwork twice for it. Once when I was in Fort Knox, once when I was in Korea, to go to Afghanistan and Iraq, and both times it was denied.
That's kind of silly.
Yeah, but that's
okay.
the Army.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, don't volunteer for it.
So, what would you like the general populace, just everyone out there, including Salem State, to know about not only people who serve in the military, but just the military in general? There's this misconstrued thing about people in the military that they're all brainwashed zombies.
That's not true.
Okay.
You're actually, you're trained to think, and nowadays you're trained to question your leadership because of things in the past where it was expected. You know, you're told to go do this, like in Vietnam, go charge that hill. I'm sending 50 people out, 35 of you ain't coming back, but go charge it anyway. You know, nowadays we're trained to think about the situations. Now it's every single soldier is informed about the mission. I mean, down to the lowest private. He has to know what the mission is. And then, you know, if they can think of anything, they bring it up. So we're not brainwashed. We actually do think. But I don't know, what was the initial question? I mean, we got off of brainwash. What do I want them to know?
What do you want like people to know about the guys in the military, girls in the military, and just the military? I mean, you know.
It's fun. I mean, it's a job. I hate to sound like a recruiting poster. It's an adventure. I mean, like I said, you get paid to go out and fire all sorts of big guns, go camping in the woods.
So it's like one big party?
Yeah, it's some places it is.
Okay.
You know.
I never would have thought of it as a big party, but okay.
No, I mean, as long as you're with the right people and, you know, you conduct yourself the way you're supposed to conduct yourself, the military will be extremely fun for you.
Okay. It kind of sounds fun. So where do you see it, where do you see the military as like an institution going in the future? Like, what do you think it'll happen to it, like, with the media coverage that's going on now and with all the new technology and stuff like that?
Well, with the new technology, I see us fighting via video game remotes. You know, because we already have planes where they're controlled by remotes to go find the enemy. There's no pilots in it whatsoever. And, you know, with the, you know, ICBMs, you know what those are? Those are intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are the nuclear missile silos.
Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
the big guns, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fire from the United States and hit in the middle of Russia, you know, anywhere. I mean, you can put a Navy gunboat in the Mediterranean and fire into Moscow. I mean, I don't know if that's the exact distance, but I mean, it's becoming less and less individual, hand-in-hand combat,
Mm-hmm.
and more of a long-ranged. So I think it's not the swords that it used to be. You have to get this close to the enemy, and you're looking the enemy in the eye. Now it's you press a button and the bullet goes.
Do you think that's good or bad?
Kind of both. I mean, because that it keeps us out of harm's way, but it also just makes it easier to fight a war. I mean, all you have to do is sit there and press buttons, and bombs just keep going back and forth. So I mean, it's bad. It's more bad than good, I think, because it could it would use a lot more civilian casualties and everything else with that way. So
I happen to agree. Yeah, I'm a history major. I think, you know, guys running into battle with swords is kind of fun.
I think that's kind of cool too. That's why I keep a collection.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you keep like the collection of like bayonets and stuff, or is it just?
Oh, just swords in general. Swords, knives.
That's so cool. So, if you could make any change to the military right now, like as it is, what would you do? Like if you were like the top general and you got to like change everything.
I don't know what I would change. I don't know. I guess better pay. I mean, I really don't know what I would change. Because I mean, I've been able to view the Army in small units. I've never been able to view it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say what I would change about the whole Army. I mean, there were things I would love to have changed in my individual units.
Okay. Like what?
But leadership, for one, sometimes. I don't know, the way some things were run, it just seemed ridiculous. I mean, I would send soldiers home when there was nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd send them to take care of personal stuff, you know, change their gear out, you know, clean up stuff, whatever. And then I'd get in trouble for that, you know, stupidity stuff, you know. If there's nothing to do, why keep the soldier there?
Right.
Send them home to do stuff to get them prepared for what's coming later.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, some leadership, let's just sit here and find something to do. So, I mean, there's a lot of waiting around doing nothing. So, I don't know. I'd probably change that.
Have you ever seen Jarhead?
Yes, I have.
Is it a lot like Jarhead?
Some aspects of it. I mean, that was the Marines, I was in the Army, but...
I meant the waiting around aspect of it, just kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of waiting around, and then when Joe gets bored, Joe does stupid things. Joe gets into trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of that.
Okay.
Because we find things to do.
Yeah, that's usually what happens when people are bored.
Yeah, you find things to do. It's usually not the right thing.
So, why did you agree to do this today? Why are you here?
To help out other students like yourself. Get a good grade.
Thanks.
No, I mean, I just saw the poster, you know, so I figured, you know, I'd help out, you know, just try to answer these questions.
Do you feel okay with going down in history and, you know, people in a couple of years, you know, looking at this for a research project or anything like that?
No, I have no problem with that. That's cool.
Okay. So say that this is, you know, your great-grandchildren, okay? All right, this is your great-grandkids. Say hi. So what would you like to tell them about your experience?
Well, I'm still experiencing it, so...
your experience up to now.
Up to now. Basically, I've just had I had a blast. I mean, I've had up and down times. But, you know, overall, this was really fun. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Do you have any advice for them if they'd like to go into the military?
Go Scout. No, just enjoy it. I mean, go in with the right attitude. I mean, don't go in there thinking that, you know, this sucks. I mean, it's going to suck if you say it does. But if you go in there with the right attitude and you strive to make it better, or you strive to have fun, then you will have fun, and you know, it will be a pleasant experience. I think everybody should experience it.
So if you think that maybe we should have a draft, or not, kind of like, okay, like an Israeli version of a draft, like before you go to college, you spend a few years in the Army.
I think,
deal.
Yeah, I think so.
You think that would be a good idea?
Yeah.
Just because?
Because I think that because it made me grow up. I'm not gonna lie, I was a punk in high school. You know, I thought I was all that. Then I went to basic training, and I was just like, wow, just like everybody else, huh? And then, you know, you're made to grow up. You're made to become an adult. So, I mean, I think just for that reason alone, right after high school, you should do a couple of years just to help yourself mature.
So do you hope your kids go into it?
Oh, I'm trying to encourage my son to go into it now.
Not your daughter?
Oh, she said she wants to go into it, but I told her to go to the Air Force. It's more laid back.
I guess. So is there anything else that you would like to say on camera?
No, not really. Any more questions?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for being here today.
No problem.
It was wonderful discussing this with you.
Hope I was of some use to you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Go on me.